Hey guys, I just wanted to make a quick video showing the functions of the stage display and how to embed cues into slides so your stage display settings can change based on the content of your slide. If you're using this in church, maybe you have a video and you want to see the video on your stage display, and then you go to your message slides and you want to see just the text, you don't want to see the actual graphic. Or you're doing your band, your worship set, and you want to see the next slide and the current slide and not the motion background. This is how you do that. So the way this system is configured is what we're looking at right now is the main, our main display on the computer, where we see the interface, the ProPresenter interface, and then there's a screen coming down from the ceiling there, and then on the back wall is a short throw projector projecting the stage display on the back wall. So I have a couple slides here that have the stage display cues embedded into them, and then there's a few slides that don't. So I'll go ahead and fire the first one. What this is just our countdown video. There's a countdown on the lower right-hand, lower third of the screen, and it's just essentially pre-service slides and some canned music for as people walk in. Well, so what we did is I created a layout for the confidence monitor that shows what time it is. The time left in the video is what's in yellow, so that's essentially, if you were to look in ProPresenter, that time and literally the how much time is left in the video, that's what's showing up there. So it essentially gives the people on stage a countdown to the end of the video, which is handy because when that countdown hits 0, we want to go right into the service. And then on the right-hand side, it's a little blown out, but you can kind of see it is literally the same image as what's on the main screen, which wasn't an absolute necessary thing, but we had the space on the screen, so I figured I would just work it into the layout. So what happens when this ends? So we get to here, it ends, and it's done, right? Then we go to, there's a Bible verse reading here, Psalm 31, 1 through 5. And so it just displays the text on the main screen, but on the back, that layout has stayed the same. And that text is too small to see from that far away. So what we want to do is put a command, embed a command into this first slide. So when this slide is clicked, it tells ProPresenter to change the layout of that stage display. So how do we do that? If you right click on the slide and go to add cue and then stage display layout, there's a few different ones that I have created in this list here, and I can show you how to do that, how to create these in a second. But there's this list that I've created that you can pick from. So probably what I would pick is message points. So now it shows that this little icon shows up, and that just means that there is a cue embedded into that slide to change the stage display. So when we click on this slide, the main display looks exactly the same, but if we go back to here, it shows the current slide and the next slide in yellow. And it's a bit bigger, so it's easier for the people on stage to read. And then that layout will stay the same for all the next slides. So if we even go down to A Mighty Fortress is Our God, if we click on that, it shows up the same way. The text is quite a bit bigger because there's less text. It does auto scale, so the less text, the bigger it will be. There is a default size to it, but it will try and fit all the text into there if it can. So for this is a song, so I'll right click, add cue, stage display, and go to worship, and then click that again. And I think it's a very similar layout actually, so it's not a super great example, but I hope that kind of gets the point across that you can embed a command in here to change the layout of the stage display. So for instance, our welcome, this is our service host. If we click on this, that just shows the main display. There's no other info in there. There's no countdown, there's no clock. In our other campus, I actually built in countdown timers. So the welcome segment, say it's supposed to be 2 minutes, I'll put a countdown in there to help our service host stay on time. So it doesn't go over and then slow down the rest of the service. Or for instance, our bumper, which is just, I think it fades in here. Yep, it's a picture of Niagara Falls or video. And so this layout is a little bit different. It has a countdown on the top, which is just it's the countdown of the video till the end of the video, and then it shows the actual video content on there so they can see it. And then we get to the message. Same idea as what I showed before. If I click on the slide, it shows the current slide, and the next slide. And then, but the current slide is up there. So at Watermark, our workflow is such that I can embed all of this stuff when I create the files, and then when you bring it into ProPresenter and import the playlist, a lot of this will carry over. But if you add something afterwards, so for instance, the way at the Bayview Chapel campus, the way this works is, if I can scroll up, pre-service I made. And if we go down to the welcome, I made that. So these came with the stage display command built into it. But the Psalm 31, 1 through 5, the Bible verse reading, A Mighty Fortress is Our God, this is song lyrics, it's a hymn, those were created in Bayview. The gentleman that does the worship here added those slides in later. So these cues needed to get added, so then when they go to sing the song, it'll show the current slide, the next slide on the stage display, not, it would have been this preset, which was that. So that doesn't really work super well for song lyrics, if that kind of makes sense. So basically, if you just remember, right-click on the slide, add cue, and then it gives you a couple different options. Go to stage display, and then pick whatever, whichever one makes sense. So if it's a worship song, worship. Or if you're creating your own, I can show you how to do that as well. I'll show you that in a second. If you pick the wrong one, okay, if you clicked on message points and you meant worship, you can fix that. If you right-click on the slide, go to Edit Cue, and then if there's multiple cues, it'll show up here, and you can pick from them if there was like a timer cue or something like that. But in this case, there's only one, so you have the option to remove it or edit it. So we can click on here and edit, and then we can rebuild this then. And you can pick from whatever you want. In this case, worship was the correct one, so I'll just keep it on worship and hit done. And then when you click on this, it does that. So it puts the current slide and the next slide up. If we wanted to create our own stage display layouts, we go to PROPRESENTER6, Preferences, and then go to the Display tab right here, up at the top right there, and then Configure Stage Display. And now we can actually see what the stage display looks like, and we can, on the right-hand side here, if you can see it, there we go. You can actually preview them, how the slide that's currently displayed, what it would look like on the confidence monitor. And as you click on this, it changes. So if I do this, it actually changes the stage display layout as well. So you can, so like worship, and you can tell it, I want the current slide, I don't want the current slide, the next slide. You can change the color, you can change the size, you can add in a clock, right up there. So you can get creative with this and however you want to do it. And it should automatically save it too. So as you're changing them, once you're done, you're good to go. One thing I will mention is how our workflow is I create all this on one machine, export the playlist bundle. So it has all the content built into one file, and then we import it into each machine at each campus. The cues carry over. So if I embed a cue for a worship slide, that will carry over in that bundle. But what it actually looks like on that machine is local to the machine. So what does that mean? So if we go into Preferences and Configure Stage Display, this information right here, what this actually looks like, is stored locally on the machine. It does not get carried over with the bundle when I export it. And if you don't know what the bundle is, I'll make another video to kind of explain that, and probably go in more depth in our workflow for that. But so what does that mean? You need to you have to create that on each machine, or there's in the files on the machine, you can they're on the machine, you can find them and you can copy them and paste them onto each separate machine that you want this to work on, if that makes sense. So like the machine that I created all this on, I made the stage display layouts how I wanted them, and I copied that file that's in the like library files on the machine, and then I went to each of our campuses and pasted that file in. So when you import the bundle that I create, those commands are all there, and so when the slide fires with the queue that had been created back at our other machine where I made everything, that queue triggers the stage display that is stored locally on the machine. I hope that kind of makes sense. I'll probably do another video to kind of go a little bit more in depth in our workflow and how that all works. But for really what you need to know, whether you're part of our watermark production team or somebody else, is the first half of this video, basically. And then how to create your own layouts, how to modify them and adjust them. Because there might be, you know, I have these kind of canned ones that I made, but somebody might need the text a little bit bigger or something moved, and that's where you go into here, the preferences, configure stage display, and then you can actually drag this around and move it around. So it's pretty flexible. It's a really cool tool. One last thing I want to show you is in PROPRESENTER6, we're running the operating system is Big Sur. So things look a little different because PROPRESENTER6 hasn't been updated in quite a while. So some of the graphic information on this is a little weird. In the past, you used to be able to hover over this and a button would show up here. The button still works, but you can't see it. So if you just bring the mouse down right here and click, you can see the stage display. So let me zoom in here. So we're looking at the stage display right now. If you kind of hover here and click, it brings it back to the main display. So even though you cannot see it, the button is still there. I don't think, even if I bring in like a brighter image, yeah, okay, there you go. So if you can see it, if I hover over it, it actually does say toggle output / stage display preview. So if you click on that, it flips between the stage display and the main output. So in this room, it's not that big of a deal because you can just turn behind you and see the stage display. But like in our McKinley campus, you can't see the stage display from the booth or the production room. So you have to kind of rely on this to see what you're doing. So it's just something good to know. Like if you have like a countdown going and you wanted to see how far into the countdown you were, I mean, you could click on clocks and you could see the countdowns running here. But also, if you click on this, you'll see the countdown there. And you can see what they're seeing from the stage. So, hope that makes sense and clarifies a couple things. If this video was helpful, you can hit the like button, comment on it, subscribe if you want, or shoot me a message. Yeah, thanks for watching.